Hey everybody, it's Norm from Tested, and we got a special treat for you today. I'm joined by a familiar face for Tested viewers, Brandon from Prop Store. You're in our studio today.
I am, yes. Thanks for having me. Yeah, first time we've been here, actually. Normally we see you at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Today we've come up to San Francisco to talk about a special auction that we're having.
Yeah, so you guys out there may know Prop Store. You guys auction a lot of really cool memorabilia from primarily movies that we've seen, but this auction is from a collection of television memorabilia. Tell us about this specific collection. I understand it's from one collector?
Yeah, that's right. So this is the collection of James Comisar. So James Comisar has really been at the forefront of collecting television memorabilia for decades, and he started in about 1989, and I think very quickly decided that his focus was going to be television over films. And I know a couple of years ago in 2015, Forbes magazine did an article on his collection where they called it the greatest television archive in the world. So that gives you some idea of the scope of it and what it's all about. This auction is not the entire Comisar collection, it is selections from the Comisar collection. And I think that, you know, you'll see as you go through the catalog for the auction that he has really covered a full range of the breadth and depth of the history of television.
It's really that history seems like he's interested in, because while you said he started collecting in 1989, his collection spans early television and a lot of these timeless shows. You have here, and we're talking today about some of the items from Batman 1966, the Adam West Batman show.
Yes, yeah, which is really one of the first major renditions of Batman, the character, right, on the screen. And for me, I grew up in the 1980s, but Batman was still on television all the time. Syndication.
Same Bat time, same Bat channel.
Everybody knew it. We watched it all the time, loved it. So these pieces really resonate with me. Let me start by telling you a little bit about some of the smaller ones here, and then I'll take you through a few of the bigger ones. So I'm going to put on my Comisar signature white gloves that we had branded for promotional purposes for this auction. You can see there, Comisar celebrating pop culture since 1989. Nice. White gloves are his signature item that he likes to use to browse wardrobe and other pieces of history. So these are Batgirls Antidote pills. This is an original prop from the show, and there's a scene in one of the episodes where Batman and Robin have been knocked out by poison, and they need some antidote, and Batgirl comes to their rescue with this custom-made little prop. And this is actually a vintage pill box from the 1960s. It's actually made out of some kind of paperboard, fiberboard you see there. And inside,
are those the pills?
Yes, possibly more exciting than the pill case itself is the original Sweet Tarts, Smarties, whatever they had in the 1960s that they were using for candy on set. And I'm pretty sure that is also mold dating to the 1960s. So nothing says authenticity and provenance like mold on your Sweet Tarts. And this is the real thing exactly as it has been since they shot that scene more than half a century ago. You
got the kind of the stencil decal vinyl on top of that, or it's cut out, you know, the paint on there. There were so many like one-off little props from the Batman show, because the team, Batman, Robin, Batgirl, gadgets for everything.
Love the gadgets, and that's why I think there's so many great props on the show, and it really speaks to the artistry behind film and television props. You know, the fact that they would come up with a gag, you can picture it in the writer's room, they saying, okay, how are they gonna revive them? She'll have some pills. Okay, what are the pills? Well, how about a little case? And I mean, you can just imagine them coming up with all this on the spot, and then some art department guy or prop man going off and saying, okay, let's cut some little vinyl details, let's get some press-on letters, let's spray paint an off-the-shelf case, and boom, there's our pill case.
Yep, from pills, there's also what looks like a breathing apparatus.
Yes, yeah, so this, like the pills, would have been fully custom made for the show. This is a bat respirator, so both Batman and Robin use these. Adam West and Burt Ward, and this, as far as I can tell, is a completely custom-made piece. There's a molded fiberglass face bit, and then you can see on the inside there's a little mouthpiece that they would bite down on to actually hold it up to their face, and you know, a filtration unit on the front that would be taking whatever toxins have been launched at them out of the air, so that the dynamic duo can return to fighting crime, right? And you can see the age on it. You know, again, it's from that time. It's from the 60s. But look at how there was a bit of rubber or foam or something on there for them to bite down on, and it's deteriorated as you would expect it to have over the past 50 years or so.
It's so amazing because those prop departments from the TV shows, when they were churning out episodes nonstop, they had to be really industrious in how they made these props. And because they were shooting that on film as well, for you to be able to pull back, you can see in the Blu-rays all that detail to really, you know, point out this is that prop from that episode.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And, you have to wonder, I don't know for sure, were these things drawn? Were there artists who were actually drawing them? Or were they on such a rush television production schedule that they just had to crank them out and somebody literally sat at a prop bench putting together whatever was nearby that would sort of fill the role and do the job,
In working with James Comisar and going through his collection, picking out items for this auction, does he have like stories about how he acquired some of these props, where he found them, where these were living between the time of production and when he started collecting?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, James has a lot of great collecting stories. When he started in 1989, as I understand it, he was a television writer. And so he was working on some of the studio lots, doing script punch-ups, that sort of thing. Started looking around the rental departments, the costume rental department, the prop rental department, and noticed all the great wardrobe that was hanging there from the shows of yesteryear that was just still in use, things that were being recycled. Today, we've all heard these stories, the famous stories of, whatever it is, the Planet of the Apes wardrobe going out for Halloween or going out for another movie, being re-dyed, having the arms taken off or whatever it might be. And a lot of things were probably lost to history that way. A lot of great wardrobe pieces probably got cannibalized for some other production and don't exist anymore because of it. And I think James saw that as an opportunity and said, look, some of these things are available for purchase. I'd actually like to go in and buy them rather than rent them and own them and preserve them for the future.
Right.
And I think that started a journey where he was just out there looking for these things. I know he used to run ads in the LA Times saying that he was looking for television memorabilia. I know that he used to send out letters to all his targets where he explained what he was doing and why he wanted to preserve this stuff for the future, why he felt it was important, why and how he wanted to take care of it for the future. And people responded to that, especially at that time. There weren't many other people doing it. So he had a high success rate and had a lot of hits. And a lot of people come back and say, look, I actually really like the idea of someone caring for my stuff into the future.
And what foresight he had to pick out the stuff from the shows that resonated with him, and then now we realize resonated with a whole generation of people who watched those shows, whether in syndication or when they originally aired.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you talk about wardrobe, and you actually brought a piece of wardrobe. I want to take a look at this because you have a few pieces of wardrobe.
Yeah, let me stand aside and
from Batman,
roll this in.
But this is the Riddler's outfit.
Yeah, so this is, in my opinion, one of the highlights of the sale. But this is absolutely the Riddler's jacket and vest. This is seen in the pilot episode of Batman. The first time the Riddler, Frank Gorshin, is introduced, he's wearing this exact jacket. And the way that you know that is, of course, the screen match, right? So we've talked about screen matching before. You're looking for something on the item that is like a fingerprint, where you can say, okay, it's this exact one for sure. And with the Riddler jacket, the thing that you're drawn to immediately is the question marks. And when you get in and really look at them, you can see that they are applied by hand, possibly with a marker or with paint, but there are subtle differences in the width, the overall shape, et cetera, et cetera. And it's not hard to pull out the stills from Batman and line these up just like a fingerprint, and you can see without question, it's this exact one.
It's not a single stencil. That's unbelievable. I mean, watching it as a kid, I thought it was just a pattern, but yeah, they're clearly different question marks.
Yeah, which is a good point, because you would sort of expect them to have done it with a stencil, right?
Yeah.
Just a little question mark stencil and a little bit of spray or paint or whatever it is. But no, you can see, I mean, they've literally been applied by hand, and each one is slightly different. Wow. And obviously the placement as a whole is what really gives it away. But I just love this piece. I mean, it has this beautiful floral lining in here. Look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, how cool is that? So it has this great label on it, custom tailored by Ernie Tarzia in Hollywood. The Hollywood obviously gives it away. And then there's also an additional label in the pocket here, which is handwritten and has the actor's name. It's faded, but you can just see there it says Gorshin. And there's a date which is also faded, but I can make out the 6 for the 60s. And it's things like that that as a collector you're always looking for. You love those labels, you love those bits of extra history and provenance that are lending to the fact that this is genuine. Obviously a piece like this with the screen match, there's no question it is genuine, but every little label like that is still a big bonus. It does have the original vest as well. When it was being cataloged, we brought in a woman who was a former Warner Brothers archivist to help us with the cataloging on this, and she pointed out that some of the tailoring aspects of the jacket are unique to that time period and what they call mid-century tailoring. So for example, the cuffs on the sleeve are a very distinctive cut. You can see this sort of short cuff here that you wouldn't find on a men's jacket today, but is very emblematic of that era.
And getting up close with this for people who make costumes themselves or maybe make period pieces, this gives a new appreciation for all those details to get it accurate, to get the shoulders right, to get the cuffs right. That is just tremendous.
Yeah, I mean, I think the show had great costumes on the whole. You know, I
Yeah.
think all the costumes were wonderful, starting, of course, with Batman and Robin. But the villains, and especially the Riddler, it's just perfect. I mean, it's just, what else would it be besides a green jacket coated in question marks, right?
Totally. There are other items from Batman 1966, you guys in the collection, that you didn't bring up here. Can you tell us about some of the other standouts?
Sure, yeah. So if we take a quick look at the catalog here, I mean, one of the highlights in the sale, which I would invite people to come in and take a look at, is the Bat Shield. So Adam West's Bat Shield.
The one that folds up.
Yes, yeah, you got it. The big acrylic folding Bat Shield. That is one of the true highlights of the auction. I believe it's the one and only. It appears in multiple seasons, multiple episodes over multiple seasons, but we took a very close look and you can screen match it by some of the marks on the aluminum trim and the placement of the handles, a number of different things. It's interesting because you can tell they did refinish it between, I think, season 2 and 3. And when they redid it, they redid the lettering that says Bat Shield, so the S actually moves over from being on the right panel of the shield to the left panel of the shield. But based on the markings that we can see on the aluminum trim and the way the blue and yellow line run around the perimeter, we're pretty sure it's the exact same shield in both episodes.
That is so cool. It's just as much archaeology as it is archiving and being an archivist. When
Always,
comes to this.
yes, yeah, and that's part of the fun, you know. And this one, I mean, this piece has, I believe, the top estimate of the sale. This is estimated to sell for $400,000 to $600,000, which obviously is quite a bit of money. But there are cheaper Batman items in the sale as well. You know, the respirator is $5,000 to $7,000. The pills are $4,000 to $6,000. So it's not all incredibly expensive. And if you're a Batman fan, we would certainly encourage you to take a look.
And you said that people can actually check these out in person at your offices before the auction this weekend.
Yeah, so just this week, anyone can come into our offices in Valencia and preview these items, including the Batman items, the Star Trek items. All the great content that we have in this sale is on display for the public to come in and see anytime between 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. this week. So if you're out there, you want to take a look, come and see us.
And we'll have more of these props, Brandon. We're going to stick around and check out more of these props in the coming week so we can get a preview of more items from this auction. Thank you so much for coming here. Thank you out
thanks
there
for having us.
for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.